Okay, I thought I would have had enough time in the last video to get around to this, but it actually, we took up quite a bit of time looking at other stuff, so I thought I'd put this in the next video, setting up our rig. So a rig is the collection of all the fixtures that we use. And fixtures, if I haven't made that clear yet, those are the actual lights that we use. And we do this in setup here in the patch and fixture schedule. That is one of your main buttons in this particular window. And it immediately prompts us to set up a layer. And layers refer to different types of fixtures. Now here at Massey we use 4 different types of fixtures. We use parkans, we use profiles, we use washers, and we use pixel bars. And I won't go into a huge amount of detail with what each of those are, because that's much easier to show in person really. But I'm going to show you how to set them up. So I'm going to make a first layer for the parkans. I'm going to call that parkans. And I'm then going to import a fixture template that the manufacturer has supplied to GMA. And GMA have kindly included that in their software. So I go to from library. This is empty because I'm on my external USB drive, so I need to switch to internal. And here they all are. Now for my parkans, the manufacturer is, I typed it already, Showtech, and what I'm looking for is the Showtech Spectral M800 Q4 Tour. I'm just going to type in some of that. Spectral, what is it, M800 Q4 Tour, there it is. And I want to select the classic strobe mode, so not 16-bit, special 8-bit or whatever, or any of those other types. But I want to go to 16-bit classic strobe. Import that. Now let's have a look at these fields here. It's giving me a name first of all, which I'm going to change. I'm going to change it to PC for Parkan. That's going to be nice and short as a little moniker. How many am I setting up? I'm going to set up 4 of each at the moment. I want to say 3 of each. 3 of each. And fixture IDs, this is how I'm going to call up individual fixtures, like with the keypad here. So I might go fixture 1, fixture 2. A convention that we use in lighting is that we have a 3-digit fixture ID, and that means for the parkans often the first that we set up. So the parkans would be 101. So this would set up 3 fixtures, quantity 3, 101, 102, 103. And so that the first one here tells me it's a parkan, and the second 2 digits tell me which one it is. Because in larger setups, I might have dozens and dozens of the same kind. Maybe not dozens and dozens, but more than 10 anyway. So that's why it's good to have 3 digits there. Okay, channel ID we can completely ignore, but here patch break. Okay, now I'm going to need to talk a little bit about how these fixtures are actually connected and what happens with them. So the fixtures are connected using DMX cables. It's the DMX protocol, and I'm showing you that in a different lecture video anyway, but just to recap, each fixture has a number of DMX channels, some more, some less, and each DMX universe can have up to 512 such channels. Not to be confused with these channels, that's sort of an older world kind of dimmer channel kind of approach, but just DMX channels are just, that's, yeah, up to 512 per universe. And that's what this shows us. This shows us that within universe 1. The first packet is going to start at the DMX address 1. And let's say this packet uses 10 DMX channels, then the next one would be 11, so 1011 and so on. This is going to generate us the patch breaks automatically according to the quantity that we've given here. And we then use those numbers, the 001, etc., to key in those numbers on the back of each fixture. And all the fixtures are daisy chained, so they've got a DMX in and an out that passes the DMX chain onto the next fixture. And so they all work together. They don't have to be in any particular order number-wise, as long as each fixture has its own DMX address, which is the starting point of the number of channels that it uses. So if it used 10 channels, and I type in 001, that means it would use channels 1 to 10. And then the next fixture you'd start at 11, and if that was a park interval, we'd go to 20, and so on. So that's what this patch break here indicates, universe and actual DMX address. On the small command doing consoles that we use, which you'll be starting out with, we have 2 universes. And on the big console we have 5. So that's 5 times 512 or 2 times 512 channels. That may seem like overkill to you, but you'll change your mind once we get to the pixel bars in a minute. Anyway, so we've set up in our fixture wizard all the different details here. I'm going to go apply, and here they are. Oops, I forgot to number the name. I'm going to rename each one manually. I should have put a little number in there. This will hopefully teach you not to make the same mistake. Okay, so back over here, new layer, add layer. I'm going to call this one washes. And here, the wash that we use is the Martin Rush. For these details, refer to my lecture notes or my quick guide that's in paper form. It's actually much easier. The MH6. No, this must be. Look at it down here. MH6. MH6 wash, not wash CT, just wash. And it doesn't have any different modes to select from. So import that. I'm going to select 3 there as well. I'm going to start this not at 104, but this is going to give this different class of IDs. It's going to be 201 for the washes. And see my patch breakdown here, it's already calculated where it should pick up in the DMX chain, also within the first universe. Those 3 parkends took up 45 addresses. And this is going to take up a whole bunch more. So I click apply again. Hang on, first I'll rename this to wash 1 here. So W123. And it's quite handy here having this overview. It's in the layers. You can do all sorts of stuff that I'll tell you about later, some of it. But the most interesting one for us right now, for when you're setting up the actual rig in the room, is the patch number. So that's the DMX addresses. So the first one would be 046, then 060, and then 074. Okay, back over here, I'm going to set up the next layer, which is the profiles. And from library, not Rush, but quantum profile. Extended mode, please, not basic, but extended. Again, I'm going to set up 3 for now, and I'm going to start them at 301. And again, it's giving me this running sort of point in the DMX chain where the profiles will start. Rename these. I'm just going to apply. See, they use quite a few more DMX channels each. We're filling up quickly. Back over here, finally I'm going to add my pixel bars. I'm just going to call them pixels. And from library I'm going to add show tag. What's this one called? Pixel bar 18Q4 tour. Q4 tour. And see, these have got 3 different modes. They can have either 3 channels or 6 channels or 72 channels. And that's because 18 here means each pixel bar has 18 different lights in it. And with 3 channels, that means you can just select between presets like waterfall and strobe and whatever else. But with 72 channels, you can actually do really in-depth programming. So we're going to select 72 channels. Quantity 3. Starting at 401 for the 4th layer, 4 for the 4th layer. And you see, now we're already in the mid-300s out of our first 512. So it's indeed quite good to have at least 2 universes of DMX addresses there, or DMX channels rather, because each of those uses 72. So if you have, we have 5 pixel bars in total, so you can do the maths on what happens there. Right, and that's the main thing to do in here. Now, once we get into GMA3D, which keeps hovering in the background here, we're going to have a problem with some of these fixtures, and that is with the Showtech fixtures with the parkhands and the pixel bars, they're not going to show properly. And that's because of some stupid miscommunication, really, between the manufacturers, between Showtech and between Grand MA, or MA Lighting, rather. And that is that Showtech says, well, these are LED fixtures, but Grand MA says, well, an LED light surface doesn't really emit much light and doesn't have a beam. So they visualize them like that. So we need to do a little kind of cheat here. I'm going to go into fixture types up here. I'm going to select first the pixel bars here. I'm going to go edit, and then I'm going to go to the module manager. So this is a bit in depth. I'm going to go to class, which is what kind of a bulb it has, and it says LED here. But for GMA3D over here, to visualize it properly, it actually needs to be set to conventional. So I set that to conventional, and then I'm going to do the same to the parkhands up here. Again, edit, module manager, class goes to conventional. So you need to do this when you set up a new template for a rig, or a new rig. And in the template that I'm giving you, this is all going to be set up already pretty much, so you don't have to do it for that, but it's very important that you know this so that you can troubleshoot, and also that you can get these addresses for setting up the actual rig. Also, this is very good in case you forget your fixture IDs, then you see what they are. In our setup, we own, I think, 16 parkhands, 6 profiles, 4 washers, and 5 pixel bars. So yeah, sort of a medium amount. It's enough to make a really nice light show for what would be a medium-size venue, really. Okay, so that's set up in the patch and fixture schedule now. When I close this, it's going to prompt me to save my changes. Yes, saving them. You just saw a little progress bar there that it was sending all that information over here to GMA3D. And in fact, that is where we're going to go next. Just let me see if there's anything else I should tell you before we go there. Yes, there is. So I've been talking about how this software, this GMA2 on PC, this is what you use at home or at a school computer to pre-program your light show together with the GMA3D visualizer. But it's also the software that our command wing consoles plug into. So we've got two different types of consoles. We've got two command wing consoles. They're smaller, and we've got a big main console. Initially, we're only going to be focusing on the command wing consoles. And they're sort of a small desk with all these buttons and with just 6 executors showing. The big console has got this many executors, actually all of these. And while the big console has got its own computer built in and all the software runs inside it, the command wing consoles use the on-PC software, which is exactly this software. So we've got 2 computer base stations that come with the command wings, and they've got little touch screens that you can use. Touch screens are very nice to use with GrandMA. But you can also, if you have your own Windows laptop and you download the software and install it, you can also connect that computer directly via USB to the command wing console. So that's totally fine if you want to use your own. The only disadvantage will be that you won't have a touch screen unless you have something like a Microsoft Surface or whatever. All right, so this takes us through to just GMA3D.